Why sleep becomes so different after 70. Have you ever asked yourself why, no matter how early you crawl into bed, you still wake up feeling a little foggy or tired? Or why you sometimes drift off in front of the television at 8 p.m., only to find yourself wide awake in the middle of the night? You're not alone. Millions of older adults face the same puzzle every evening, wondering if their body has simply forgotten how to rest. But here's the surprising truth. It isn't that your body can't sleep anymore, it's that it's following a new rhythm. A rhythm many people over 70 don't even realize exists. That's exactly what today's video is all about. We're going to uncover the hidden connection between aging, your internal body clock, and the golden window for bedtime that could transform not just your nights, but also your energy, memory, and even your heart health. And let me be clear right from the start, you don't need fancy supplements, expensive sleep gadgets, or even medication to benefit from this. All it takes is one small change, honoring the new time your body naturally wants to rest. So, before we dive into the science, let me ask you a simple question. What time do you usually go to bed? If your answer is closer to midnight than to 9 p.m., chances are you've been ignoring the signals your body has been sending. And those signals are more important than ever after 70. How sleep changes with age. When we're in our 20s, 30s, and even 40s, most of us can stay up late, sleep in the next morning, and feel fine. But the brain you live with in your 70s is not the same brain you had in your 40s. The wiring changes, the hormones shift, and your sleep cycles look completely different. One of the biggest changes is the loss of deep sleep, the stage where your body repairs itself, your brain clears out toxins, and your immune system resets. Studies show that by the time we reach our 70s, we may be getting up to 40% less deep sleep than we did just 20 years earlier. This doesn't mean sleep is broken. It means sleep has a new shape. You may still spend 7 or 8 hours in bed, but without enough deep sleep, you wake up feeling as if you barely rested. That's why so many older adults complain about low energy, forgetfulness, or morning grogginess even when they technically slept through the night. Another key change is melatonin, the hormone your brain releases to signal bedtime. In younger years, melatonin tends to rise later in the evening, keeping you alert until 10 or 11 p.m. But after 70, melatonin begins rising earlier, sometimes as early as 7:30 or 8 p.m. That yawn you get after dinner? That heavy eyelid feeling around 8:30? That's not weakness. That's your biology. Your body is literally whispering, it's time to rest. The problem is most people ignore it. They push past it with TV, phone scrolling, or late-night snacks. By the time they finally crawl into bed at 11, that natural wave of sleepiness has already passed. And when you miss the wave, you end up tossing, turning, and wondering what went wrong. A story that proves the point. Let me share the story of Mrs. Carter, a 74-year-old retired librarian who came to see me a few years ago. She was sharp, witty, and loved doing crossword puzzles. But when she sat in my office, her frustration was written all over her face. "Doctor," she said, "I don't understand it. I go to bed at 11 every night just like I always have, but I can't fall asleep. And when I finally do, I wake up 2 or 3 times before morning. I feel exhausted all day." We talked for a while, and I asked her a simple question. "What time do you usually start to feel tired in the evening?" She paused and admitted, "Honestly? Around 8:30. But that feels too early, so I force myself to stay awake until at least 11. I don't want to go to bed like a child." I smiled and explained what the research has shown us. Her body wasn't failing her, it was guiding her. By ignoring her natural window for sleep, she was working against her own biology. I encouraged her to try something different for 3 weeks. Bed by 9:30, no exceptions. She laughed at first, but she agreed to give it a try. 3 weeks later, she walked back into my office with the brightest smile. "Doctor," she said, "I feel like myself again. I sleep through the night. My mornings don't feel heavy anymore. I've even started walking with my neighbor again." All from one change, respecting her body's new bedtime rhythm. What this means for you. If you're over 70, or caring for someone who is, it's time to rethink what normal sleep looks like. Staying up late might have worked decades ago, but today it could be the very reason you feel tired, forgetful, or emotionally flat. The truth is simple. Your internal clock has shifted, and your health depends on listening to it. That wave of tiredness you feel in the evening isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's your brain's way of saying, let's heal now, not later. And if you honor that, you open the door to deeper rest, better energy, sharper memory, and even a stronger heart. In the next part of this video, we'll talk about the golden hour for bedtime, the exact time research shows is most beneficial for older adults, and why choosing the right hour can matter just as much as the number of hours you spend in bed. But for now, I want you to think about your evenings. Have you been fighting against your body's signals? Have you noticed that drowsy feeling coming earlier than it used to? If so, you may already have the key to better sleep, you just haven't turned it yet. If you're finding this information helpful so far, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss new insights on healthy aging. And in the comments below, share your bedtime. Do you feel sleepy earlier than you actually go to bed? I'd love to hear your experiences. Because the first step toward better rest isn't medicine, it isn't supplements, it's awareness. And once you understand what your body is telling you, everything changes. The golden hour, why 9 to 10 p.m.? is the best bedtime after 70. Now that we've uncovered why sleep changes so dramatically after 70, let's take the next step. If your internal clock has shifted, then the obvious question becomes, what time should I actually go to bed? For many older adults, this is the missing piece of the puzzle. You see, most people still cling to the bedtime they kept for decades, 10:30, 11, even midnight, because that's what always worked. But just like your eyesight, your digestion, or your stamina change with age, so does your sleep rhythm. And if you don't adapt, you end up fighting against your biology instead of flowing with it. The answer, according to a growing body of research, is surprisingly clear. The golden bedtime window for people over 70 is between 9 and 10 p.m. It may sound simple, even too simple, but don't underestimate it. Going to bed in this window can make the difference between restless, broken nights and deep, healing sleep. Let's explore why. The science behind the golden hour. To understand why 9 to 10 p.m. matters so much, we need to take a closer look at the hormones that regulate your body's sleep-wake cycle. Melatonin, often called the sleep hormone, rises earlier in older adults than in younger ones. For most people in their 70s, melatonin begins increasing noticeably as early as 7:30 or 8 p.m., reaching its peak strength around 9 or 9:30. That's when your brain is most ready to transition into deep rest. Cortisol, the hormone that wakes you up in the morning, also shifts earlier with age. That's why so many seniors find themselves naturally waking up around 5:30 or 6 a.m., even if they wish they could sleep in. When you go to bed between 9 and 10 p.m., you align yourself perfectly with these two forces. You catch melatonin when it's strongest, and you allow enough time for your sleep cycles to unfold before cortisol begins nudging you awake. Miss that window by staying up until 11 or midnight, and you risk sliding past the melatonin peak. Your brain becomes more alert again, your sleep cycles shorten, and suddenly you're tossing and turning, unable to drop into the deep stages your body desperately needs. The research that proves that this isn't just theory, it's backed by science. A large study from the Mayo Clinic followed over 1,200 adults over the age of 70. The results were striking. Those who consistently went to bed between 9 and 10 p.m. reported 45% better overall sleep quality compared to peers who stayed up later, had fewer nighttime awakenings, showed higher energy levels the next morning, and even demonstrated lower rates of heart strain and memory issues over a one-year follow-up. Similar findings have been published by Harvard Medical School and Johns Hopkins. Again and again, the evidence points to the same conclusion. Bedtime isn't just about the number of hours, it's about the right hours. Real-life story. Mr. Alvarez. Let me tell you about Mr. Alvarez, a 78-year-old grandfather who came into my clinic with a complaint I've heard thousands of times. Doctor, I'm so tired during the day. I nap constantly. But when I lie down at night, I can't fall asleep until midnight. What's wrong with me? The truth was, nothing was wrong. He was simply misaligned with his body's rhythm. His natural drowsiness arrived at 8:30, but he forced himself to stay up until midnight watching television. By then, his melatonin levels had already fallen, and his body had lost the chance for early deep sleep. I encouraged him to make one change: lights out by 9:30 p.m. for the next 3 weeks. At first, he resisted. That feels like the bedtime of a child. He laughed. But eventually he agreed to try. 3 weeks later, he came back with a grin that told me everything before he even spoke. Doctor, he said, it's like I've gotten 10 years of energy back. I wake up before sunrise feeling clear, rested, and ready to go. My wife says I'm not grumpy anymore. And I don't nap nearly as much. That's the golden hour in action. Not a pill, not a complicated routine, just honoring what his body was already asking for. Why 9 to 10 p.m. works better than midnight? You might be wondering, but if I still sleep for 7 or 8 hours, why does it matter what time I go to bed? That's a fair question. And here's the answer. Your body's most restorative sleep, the kind that repairs your heart, clears your brain, and balances your emotions, happens early in the night. That's when deep sleep stages dominate. By the early morning hours, your sleep becomes lighter, with more dreaming and more frequent awakenings. If you delay bedtime until 11 or midnight, you shorten or even miss that early deep sleep window. You may still log 8 hours in bed, but the quality of those hours will be dramatically lower. Think of it like catching a train. The most important healing train departs around 9:30 p.m. If you're at the station, you ride smoothly through the night. If you miss it, you can still catch a later train, but it'll be bumpier, shorter, and far less restorative. Breaking old habits. Of course, knowing the science doesn't always make the change easy. Many of us grew up believing that adults stay up late, or that 9 p.m. is simply too early for bed. But remember, aging isn't about clinging to what worked decades ago. It's about adapting to what works now. If your body is nudging you toward rest earlier in the evening, it's not weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. It's your biology adjusting to protect your energy and health. And once you lean into it, you may be surprised how natural it feels. Your challenge. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 3 weeks, commit to a bedtime between 9 and 10 p.m. No screens, no last-minute chores, no late-night snacks. Just give your body permission to rest when it's asking for it. At first, it may feel unusual. You may even feel like you're missing out on part of the evening. But watch what happens. Notice your mornings. Pay attention to your energy, your memory, your mood. I promise you the results will speak louder than any study ever could. Before we move on to the next part of this video, take a moment to reflect. Have you been ignoring your body's natural bedtime window? Do you fight through that drowsy wave in the evening just to stay up? If so, you may already know what's holding your sleep back. The healing power of on-time sleep after 70. When most people think about sleep, they see it as downtime, a pause button between one day and the next. But the truth is, sleep is not a break from life. Sleep is life. It's the time when your body repairs itself, your brain resets, and your emotions find balance. And here's the incredible part. When you go to bed at the right time, between 9 and 10 p.m., sleep stops being just rest, it becomes medicine, free, natural, and more powerful than most people realize. Let's look at the 3 major ways on-time sleep heals your body after 70. Your heart, your memory, and your emotional well-being. 1. Your heart gets the rest it deserves. Think of your heart as the tireless engine that keeps everything else running. By the time we reach our 70s, that engine has already worked for decades, millions of beats, day after day without pause. No wonder it craves recovery. Studies from the American Heart Association have shown that seniors who consistently go to bed between 9 and 10 p.m. have up to a 40% lower risk of heart complications compared to those who stay up past 11. Why? Because early, deep sleep is when your blood pressure naturally dips, your heart rate slows, and your cardiovascular system finally has a chance to relax. When you miss that window and stay up late, your heart never gets the same quality of rest. Over time, that adds up to more strain, higher blood pressure, and greater risk of irregular heart rhythms. I'll never forget Mr. Patel, a 72-year-old retired shop owner who came to me worried about his rising blood pressure. He was already on medication, but nothing seemed to help. After a careful review, we discovered the real problem. He was staying up until midnight every night, fighting against his natural rhythm. With just one change, bedtime at 9:30, his blood pressure began to stabilize within weeks. At his next cardiology appointment, his doctor was shocked. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it," he said. Mr. Patel's reply? "I just started listening to my body too. Your memory becomes sharper." Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you're there? Or misplaced your glasses only to find them sitting right in front of you? Memory lapses can be frustrating, and many people fear they're the first signs of something more serious. But here's the encouraging truth. Sometimes memory problems are less about age and more about sleep. During the deep stages of early night sleep, your brain does something remarkable. It clears out waste products, tiny toxins that build up during the day and cloud your thinking. It also files your memories, organizing the information you've taken in and locking it into long-term storage. When you delay sleep until midnight, you miss the richest portion of this cleaning and organizing cycle. That's why so many older adults feel foggy, forgetful, or mentally sluggish after late nights. I remember working with a couple, Helen and George, both in their mid-70s. They came to me worried because they were forgetting appointments, repeating questions, and struggling with simple daily tasks. Instead of rushing to label it as just aging, I asked them about their sleep. Sure enough, they were going to bed around 11:30 every night. I suggested a new rule: lights out by 9:30 for the next 2 months. The results were astounding. Helen began remembering her daily medications without reminders. George returned to finishing his beloved crossword puzzles, something he hadn't been able to do in years. Science supports their story. A study from Johns Hopkins found that seniors who adopted earlier bedtimes showed improved cognitive performance by as much as 30% over a few months. Think about that, not from brain games or supplements, but simply from going to bed on time. 3. Your mood and emotions find balance. As we grow older, it's not just our bodies that need care, our emotions do too. Loneliness, anxiety, and low mood are common struggles in the later decades of life. And while social connection, purpose, and movement all play a role, sleep is often the hidden foundation. When you go to bed earlier and align with your body's natural clock, your brain has more time to produce calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. It also processes emotional stress, washing away the noise of the day. In our clinic, we've seen patients who once felt anxious, irritable, or even depressed begin to experience 50 to 60% improvements in mood after just a few weeks of consistent early sleep. Take the story of Mrs. Ramirez, a 75-year-old widow who confessed she had lost interest in her hobbies and often felt weighed down by sadness. She told me, "Nights are the hardest. I sit up watching television until after midnight, but when I wake up, I feel heavy, like I'm carrying the whole world." I gently suggested a new routine: calming activities before bed, lights out by 9:30, and no screens after 8:30. She agreed to try. 2 months later, she returned with tears in her eyes, not from sadness but relief. "Doctor," she said, "I feel lighter. I paint again. I garden again. I laugh again. I didn't realize how much late nights were stealing from me." Sleep is medicine. If there's one message I want you to take from this, it's this: early sleep heals. It heals your heart, giving it the deep rest it has earned after decades of work. It heals your brain, clearing away fog and sharpening your memory. It heals your emotions, bringing peace, calm, and balance back into your days. This isn't about being strict with yourself. It's about being kind. It's about giving your body what it's been quietly asking for all along, so the next time you feel that wave of drowsiness around 8:30 or 9 p.m., don't fight it. Don't push it away. See it for what it really is, a gift, a natural invitation to heal. If this resonates with you, type the word heal in the comments below. It's a simple way to remind yourself, and others, that it's never too late to restore what feels lost. 5 habits to sleep deeply and peacefully after 70. We've now explored why sleep changes after 70, the golden bedtime window of 9 to 10 p.m., and the powerful healing benefits of aligning with your body's natural rhythm. But here's the challenge. Knowing something doesn't always mean we'll do it. Old habits die hard. Many people stay up late simply because they don't have a routine that helps their body transition into rest. That's why in this final part, I want to give you 5 practical habits. Simple, gentle steps you can use every evening to make early sleep feel natural, not forced. These aren't complicated tricks or rigid rules. They're small, life-giving habits that guide your body and mind into deep, healing rest. Let's go through them one by one. Create a gentle wind-down ritual. Think of your body like a train slowing down. You can't go from full speed to complete stop in one instant. You need a track that gradually guides you there for sleep. That track is your wind-down ritual. Start 1 hour before your bedtime, around 8:30 p.m. if you're aiming for a 9:30 bedtime. Dim the lights, put away bright screens, and do something calm. Read a gentle book, listen to soothing music, pray, journal, or simply sit quietly with a cup of herbal tea. This signals to your brain it's time to shift gears. Within days you'll notice your eyelids getting heavy right on schedule. I remember Mrs. Lewis, a 74-year-old patient who loved knitting. She turned it into her nightly ritual, half an hour of quiet knitting under soft light. She told me, "Doctor, I've never fallen asleep so peacefully in my life. Feels like my mind is uncluttered before bed too." Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Your sleep environment is just as important as your bedtime. The older we get, the more sensitive we become to small disruptions. Temperature, noise, even the faint glow of a clock. Here's a simple checklist. Keep the room cool, ideally between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 21 degrees Celsius. Block out light with blackout curtains or an eye mask. Reduce noise. Use earplugs or a white noise machine if needed. Make sure your mattress and pillows support your body comfortably. Think of your bedroom as a sanctuary, a place your body associates only with rest. No television, no work, no clutter. Just peace. One of my patients, Mr. Chin, once said after decluttering his bedroom, "Doctor, it feels like I sleep in a hotel every night now." That small shift transformed his sleep from restless to refreshing. 3. Respect your body's signals. Your body is always talking to you. It's just that most of us have learned to ignore it. The drowsiness you feel around 8:30 or 9 p.m. That's not boredom. That's your natural circadian rhythm calling you to rest. Instead of pushing through it with television, snacks, or late-night chores, honor it. When your body says, "I'm ready," listen. That's the most powerful sleep medicine you'll ever find. One of my patients, Gloria, once joked, "Doctor, I used to treat my yawns like an enemy. Now I see them as an invitation." And once she did, sleep became easy again. 4. Cut off stimulants early. Many older adults don't realize how sensitive the aging body becomes to stimulants. Caffeine, nicotine, even sugar can linger much longer in your system than they did in your younger years. A good rule of thumb: no caffeine after noon. That means no coffee, black tea, or chocolate late in the day. Limit alcohol too. It may make you drowsy at first, but it actually disrupts deep sleep later in the night. I'll never forget a patient named Robert, who loved his evening cup of strong black tea. He couldn't understand why he was tossing and turning at midnight. Once he switched that tea for chamomile, his sleep transformed almost overnight. 5. Keep a consistent schedule. This may be the most important habit of all. Your body thrives on rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same times every day helps set your internal clock like nothing else can. It's tempting to stay up late on weekends or sleep in after a rough night. But irregular sleep only confuses your body further. Instead, commit to your golden bedtime window every night. Within a few weeks, you'll find yourself getting sleepy and waking up naturally without an alarm clock. One patient, Maria, told me, "I thought I needed pills to sleep. Turns out, I just need." If you've reached your 70s, you've lived through countless changes. You've adapted to new roles, new challenges, and new seasons of life. Adapting your sleep is just one more part of that journey, a gentle, life-giving shift that honors the wisdom of your body. So tonight, when 9 p.m. rolls around and your eyes begin to feel heavy, don't resist it. Smile, thank your body for its signals, and allow yourself to rest. You've earned it. Because here's the truth: the right bedtime after 70 isn't just about sleep. It's about health. It's about memory. It's about emotional balance. It's about living fully in every precious day you're given. So start tonight. Choose rest. Choose healing. Choose life. If this video has inspired you, share it with someone you love, because sleep is a gift best shared. And in the comments below, tell us, which of these 5 habits will you start tonight? Thank you for watching, and remember, at any age your body knows the way to peace. You just have to listen.